All right, everybody. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Welcome back to your Elegance Boot Camp. I am Maggie. You all may know me from my cooking channel, Maggie the Substitute Teacher. I'm all about food and femininity. And Lucy and I are the founders of the Finishing School for the Modern Woman, an 8-week privately taught finishing school. Registration is open. Go to the link in the description if you would like to join us. Lucy, would you like to introduce yourself?
With you for 30 minutes every day for 30 days in November. First, before anything, I want to wish all our vets a happy Veterans Day. Thank you. Thank you for giving your time and all your effort to always keep us protected. So thank you to all our veterans. And yes, I have a channel, mostly, sorry, squirrel. I have a channel mostly teaching Spanish, basic to advanced, and sometimes I put in a little bit of femininity, elegance, type cultural topics, and I have been really bad because I haven't posted anything. I know that my Spanish learners want me to post more things, but sometimes life happens, and I promise that probably tomorrow I will be posting something.
Look, it happens. I thought I was going to be able to do both, but I've kind of taken a break from streaming meals because we are here for you all. Like Lucy said, this Elegance Boot Camp is a 30-day boot camp from November 1 through November 30th. We are here pretty much every evening for you all, going over Woman of Elegance book. She has a book called Your Ultimate Guide to Elegance. So if you want to get on your elegance journey, hopefully you can pick up something from what we are teaching. And as Lucy said, happy Veterans Day. Thank you all so much for your service. We couldn't have any of these freedoms without you. My youngest actually goes to military school, and I remember they had a Veterans Day lunch today. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We got an American patriot in the house. He says, good evening, Lou and Maggie. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so what are we doing here? All are welcome. But ladies, we are covering our Elegance Bootcamp. So let me share my screen, make sure I can, and just bring you guys up to speed on what we've been covering so far. All right. So all of this is available for you, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and even Spotify. So we are up to day 10. You can kind of see here what we've been covering. So the premise behind Vivienne's book is if you start making improvements in all of these areas within 30 days, you will be on your way to being more elegant, if that's a goal of yours. We are up to day 10 today. Ladies, we are going to be talking about being discreet. And believe me, discretion is a huge part of being elegant. We've talked about the communication aspect, thinking before you speak, making sure you speak articulately, but what you say really matters. We don't have to say everything that's in our head. Would you agree, Lucy?
I agree. We see some stuff on social media, even on TV, about people that do not have that filter. And sometimes, sometimes you take them, you accept them the way they are, but sometimes it's just not the appropriate time to lack that filter.
Absolutely. And ladies, less is more. So if you're wondering about whether or not to say something, I would say pump the brakes. You can always offer it later if it's appropriate. But once those words come out, Mm-mm. All right, so let us go to our text for the day. So this is the book. This is Vivienne Abena. She has a YouTube channel called Woman of Elegance, linked in the description. She has given us permission to teach from her book. This is a digital download, and it is your ultimate elegance guide. If you all want your own personal copy, you can get it at a 20% discount. The link is in the description, and you can use discount code Elegance20 to get your own copy. Thankfully, we have very generous men in our community, specifically Brandon L. Jett, who has made this book available and free for all of our women in the finishing school. So this is in your dashboard if you are a past student and alumna. If you enroll for any future class, you will get this book as well. So what does Vivienne say? Day number 10, be discreet. Don't dominate the conversation. Give the other person the opportunity to also express their views. Use fewer words to communicate your points and don't spill everything you know. That is a mouthful there. So let's unpack this. I love that about don't dominate the conversation. Lucy and I have shared, we're different in a lot of ways. I'm an extrovert, she's an introvert. But ladies, those of us who can go on and on and on, a conversation is supposed to be like a dance or a ping pong. You speak a little bit, they listen. They speak a little bit, you listen. And you try to find those points that are things that you have in common. If you find yourself going on and on and on, especially in the dating process, but even if you've been in a relationship, it's a turnoff. Get comfortable sitting in a little bit of silence. I know for some of us, it's like you want to explode. You just got to say something. But I tell my ladies, as I do consults outside of this, I want us to work on doing less and being more. So be present in the moment and allow the other person to speak. What would you say, Lucy?
I absolutely agree. And I think you can audit whether your conversation, whether you dominated the conversation or not. I read this article. It's called The Act of Conversation. And I subscribe to a website called Marvelously Well Mannered. So it's a really good area where they have blogs mainly focused for millennials, and they have a book. It's called the Marvelous Millennials Manual for Modern Manners, and it's mostly about business etiquette. So if anybody's interested, I think it's on Amazon. It's also on their website. So I think that if you're interested, that's great. But they talk about making sure that you take inventory of a conversation. And they say to ask yourself the following: did I talk more than the other person by a significant degree? Did I respond with my own story instead of asking a question that required more than a yes or no as an answer? And was I repeatedly interrupted? And did I just steamroll over them to finish my point? So those are three things that it's important to kind of audit yourself. Maybe ask a good friend to, next time that you have a conversation, and see if you answered yes to all of those, then it's time to develop some type of formula for your next conversation.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. Lucy, if you have the link, please drop it in the chat. We love giving you all tangible resources on where you can go to improve. You can learn from us, but there's so much out there. This is our life's work to share with you all what we've learned. I was actually listening to another podcast. We're available on Spotify, so you all can find Finishing School for the Modern Woman or this Elegance Boot Camp on Spotify, so you can listen on the go. Another podcast, Sarah Bodenova, who is one of our workshop teachers, she has a podcast, and she said she also does coaching. And she said when she would send women out on dates and she would ask them about the other person, what did they learn from the other person? And they're just kind of like, they're struggling to remember what was said. So that could be one of two things, ladies. Either that means you dominated the conversation because you just didn't stop talking, or you weren't actively listening. You were just thinking about what you were going to say next. You really weren't listening to what they said so that you can find a connection. And again, we all know what it feels like to really be heard, to know when someone is really paying attention to you. We all have that memory of someone who just made us feel like we mattered. And being elegant is about simplicity, but also making that other people around you feel comfortable. All right, so just a good tip. Nutella says you've learned, and Nate says you've learned so much. I'm so happy. Let's see what else Vivienne says. She says, use fewer words to communicate your points. We've talked about that. Don't spill everything you know. Hold back on your words to avoid babbling or coming across as a know it all. Yeah, ladies, I know it's natural for us to bond with each other and we want all of the tea and we want all the detail. It's like, I know, I get it, believe me. But we've talked a lot about men, especially masculine men, are men of few words. And so I think, what did they say? I heard somewhere like we have one mouth and two ears, so we should listen twice as much as we speak. But when you're talking, I've heard this said too, when you're talking, you're not learning anything because you're saying what you already know. When you're in a conversation with someone else, it's an opportunity to leave that conversation better, learn something. Oh, I didn't know that about you. And if you don't want to be in conversation with them, we've talked about ways to exit with grace. You can say, it's been lovely talking to you, but I must fill in the blank. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy your evening. But don't waste someone's time, and especially not that body language and rolling the eyes and looking over or being in the phone or whatever. That's completely unacceptable and disrespectful. It would be better for you to exit than to either dominate the conversation or act like you don't really care what they're saying. So less is more, ladies. What would you say, Lucy?
I agree. And if you think about maybe when you go out on a date with a man, allow him to tell you things about him, and the fact that you're prepared to ask questions, it helps you remember. Asking question, believe it or not, makes you remember the key things about that person. Go into a conversation with a heart of curiosity. Think that you're always going to learn something from that other person, because it's not a good thing to be a know-it-all, because we don't all know everything, and it's a little a bit annoying to have somebody that knows it all, because it's just they want to dominate the conversation with everything that they know about the one topic.
Absolutely. You all have been in those meetings. Excuse me. You all have been in those meetings, whether they're at work or wherever you gather, where someone just has something to say about everything. And oh, yeah, I've been there. Oh, yeah, I've had that. Oh, yeah, I've done that. Okay, well, good for you. One of the things I try to do is I try to listen intently for something that's in common, especially if I go into a conversation and I'm like, I don't know these people. I don't want to be here. That's rare for me. I never met a stranger, but if I think I already know it all, I listen even harder and I challenge myself to try and find one thing, just one takeaway that I can say, oh, I didn't know that. Lisa says, yeah, looking around the room when someone is talking. Y'all were here, I don't know how many days ago, when I talked about silence is not an appropriate response in my traumatic airport experience. So yes, if you cannot show respect in the conversation, then you should exit with grace. Lady Navoa says, you got to go sing, you're getting dressed, and you have your two favorite ladies. Yes, we hope you have a great weekend too. We are so glad that you all love it. We love giving back. We have multiple courses offline. Lucy and I do private classes. Some of them are on demand, some of them are taught live. And then I do private coaching. I love helping feminine women attract and keep the masculine man of their dreams. So this is our way of giving back and just making some content available for everyone. You can go to teachablemomentswithmaggie.com to find out all about what we have to offer. Hello, Lindbergh. All right, so let us continue. What else does Vivienne say? Keep it short, and sweet when it's a topic you are not too familiar with. Refrain from discussing people unless you're saying something good about them. That's two good ones, ladies. This is a big one. And we know the holidays are coming. You're going to find yourself in mixed company. And, you could talk about things that are that bring us together, or you could talk about things that are divisive. If you're trying to build relationships, I would suggest you try to find things that bring people together. So again, if it's a topic you don't know a lot about, there are political things happening, struggles happening in the world. If you don't know anything about it, you can listen and you can say, something to the effect of, oh, that's, I hate to hear that, or that's so unfortunate. Unfortunately, I'm not as informed on the facts here, so I would hate to speak out of turn. It sounds like you're very well informed about it. So thank you for sharing with me, but I wouldn't want to say anything incorrect. Then you change the conversation, meaning, so what do you have planned for the holidays? Are you traveling? So that is a tip that you all can use. Sometimes people don't mean it. They're just very passionate about something and they kind of put you in a corner and you're uncomfortable. So that's something that you can do. Graciously acknowledge it, admit, oh, that's not something that, however you want to say it. And ladies, practice these things before you find yourself in that conversation. So if it's something like, oh, that's a topic for another day, or, I'm not as informed on it, or, oh man, it seems like you really know a lot about this area. Thank you for sharing. Have you tried any new restaurants lately? All right. So find a way to make sure you don't get painted in a corner, and then don't do that to someone else. What would you say, Lucy?
I absolutely love the redirecting portion where you let them know, but let's change the subject subtly, in a subtle way. And it's kind of, it's funny because every time you talk about that, I think about my dogs when they're focusing on a toy and I know they're going to fight. Then I say something, squirrel, and they go to the squirrel so I can grab that toy. So it's that redirection that helps on just making the situation less uncomfortable.
Absolutely. And here's another free tip for you all. But first, I want to say thank you so much, Lindbergh, for the $5 super chat. Very generous. Y'all don't even have to come here, but you come and you support us. And then when you go above and beyond like that, I'm very, very grateful. I always say, I didn't find $5 in your laundry, so I will take it graciously. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, Yes, and the little tip I wanted to give you all coming up on the holidays. One of the courses that Lucy and I have taught that's on our site, you can download for instant access, was the hosting etiquette. So, ladies, if you are hosting, in that course we talked about what is the host responsible for, what is the guest responsible for. As a host, you want to make sure that you keep the mood pleasant. You make sure that your guests are comfortable. So, if you notice maybe you have someone in your family that loves to debate, that loves to talk politics or vaccines or wars or whatever, and you see them kind of going into the innocent neighbor who just joined, you can change the conversation. All right, everybody, let's come into the room. Dessert is ready, whatever. You can absolutely rescue your guest. So that's a little hosting tip for you. Another thing that Vivienne said, refrain from discussing people unless you're saying something good about them. Ladies, we were just raised. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything. You are not the town crier. You do not need to be the first one to deliver. I think that if there's something, none of this is an emergency, right? If there's something that is to be learned or to be told, it's going to come up. But if you get that reputation of the person, oh, here she comes, she's always got the tea, or she's always in the dirt, people may sit there and listen to you, but what they're listening to is that you're not trustworthy. You're not discreet. I'm going to look at you and say, oh, really? Is that so? and I'll never open up to you. I'll never share with you because I know you can't wait to take my secrets to someone else. So if someone brings, oh, did you hear so and so? Their car got repossessed. I don't know. I'm making it up. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. You can also redirect, right? Or you could say something very pleasant. Well, they've always been very kind to me. I'm sure, I wish them all the best. Like you can elevate yourself instead of having to get into the weeds. Now we know when we were their friends and, you talk, okay, that's fine. But remember, ladies, men are always watching, and just what you say, it really matters. It impacts your reputation. What would you say, Lucy?
I agree with you on this one too. And remember yesterday's acronym think. Is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? And is it kind? So if it meets none of those, then it's time to, again, redirect the conversation and try to keep an eye on a person like that, because again, like Maggie said, if they're talking about someone to you, chances are that they might take the information that they learn from you and they share it with other people, and that's not becoming.
I love what William says. We have William Muthi here. He says, Women who talk are bad partners for businessmen. Excuse me. Absolutely. Ladies, if you want to get close to a man of value, you're going to have to be able to take some things to the grave. Like men, it takes them a long time to trust and open up anyway. And so they are very discerning about the people that they let close to them. We women, it's like, oh, this is my friend. This is my friend. But you want to make sure you protect what he shared with you. It's not for other people to know. It's none of their business. And then all of this coming to the internet to air your dirty laundry, that is not elegant at all. So don't do it, ladies. You will find yourself disqualified quickly. All right. So the last thing that Vivienne says here is don't divulge secrets, no false reports, and no gossiping. Okay, now this is a tough one because we all like the tea and we all like to know. I'm just like y'all. But what you want to be mindful of is that what it says about you. Um, am I saying never talk to your friends? It's not about that at all. But you all know what a gossip is. And you all know when someone just can't wait, like they can, my man says, can't hold water, just can't wait to tell you, ooh, girl, I got to tell you. If it comes up in conversation and you find out, okay, so and so lost a job, that's unfortunate. But having that, we call it the get back, like having that, like, ooh, I can't wait to, get that person back or get them told, or it's so unattractive, ladies, and it's not elegant. You want to get to a point where you are so rock steady and confident in your own life, in your own choices, in your own relationship, in your own decisions. What's happening out here doesn't throw you. You may hear good news. That's wonderful. You may hear bad news. I'm so sorry to hear that. But you don't want to live your life on the ups and downs of others. You really want to have that control from within. And for me, the gossiping part of it, it just kind of keeps you on that emotional roller coaster. And it's like, oh, tell me more. I can't wait for more. I just think minimize it. So that would be a step to take. Like even some of the shows I used to watch, it's just kind of like, oh, here we go again. Who's doing what to who? It doesn't edify me. I don't feel better after I've heard or listened to it. So I start to minimize it and then redirect myself into something productive. What would you say, Lucy?
Exactly. And it's that part of just being selective about the information that you receive. Somebody that uh, takes joy on sharing all of that information, what are they doing in their lives that they have the time to learn about everybody else's business? So, one of the things to look out for is if that person's personal life is a little chaotic, she's trying to redirect the chaos for telling you chaos that happens to everybody else to avoid being self-reflective and say, am I the chaotic here? So that's the kind of thing that is just a little it's not feminine, it's not elegant, it's just busy work for no reason. And on this website, I read this quote from Jean de La Fontaine. It's a French poet, I think. And he says, "Nothing is more dangerous than a friend without discretion. Even a prudent enemy is preferable." So even somebody that you have bad blood with, if you know that they keep secrets, it's better than having that one friend that is spilling the beans for everybody else, including you.
You make such a good point there, Lucy. And ladies, that's the end of what Vivienne has to say. I'd love to hear what you all have to say. One of the differences between men and women, and I will say it until my dying day, we are of equal value, but we are not equal. Two men that despise each other can be in the same room, can even shake hands, can even do business together, and they keep their personal feelings off the table. And then you find out later, oh, yeah, I can't stand him. You're like, what? Oh my goodness. But men have a certain composure because they know, what did Kevin Samuels say? Lucy and I both have a Kevin Samuels connection. It can escalate to violence very quickly with men. And so they have a self control that I believe we women don't. And it's like we can't wait to get into space. Girl, did you see what she was wearing? That's going on. It is so unattractive. I'll never forget. I took someone to a wedding. We were both guests, so she rode with me, and we went to a wedding of a mutual friend. And I love love. I'm that bright-eyed, like, oh, it's so romantic. And when we were leaving the wedding, which you all know weddings are expensive, they paid hundreds of dollars per person. As soon as we got back in the car, this person who was riding with me got on her phone. Girl, let me tell you such and such what they were. And I was just like, I lost so much respect for that person because I was like, we haven't even made it out of the parking lot. And this moment, it doesn't matter if you like him, it doesn't matter if you like her. That was their moment. Why are you going off and like critiquing everything down from the dresses to the cake to whatnot? And you never know, ladies, what people think of you when you run your mouth like that. We all know how to keep quiet when we want to. So just work on your discretion and you'll be on your way to being more elegant. What would you say, Lucy?
Exactly. And also, it makes me think that person was invited, was considered a friend, and all they found was the negative things instead of saying that was a beautiful reception, that was a beautiful wedding, they looked so happy, and left it at that. So again, that is something that you look out for when trying to build your circle of friends, and be selective about who does what, because as Maggie has said before, men watch, you also have to watch out for who's around you because they're looking at who's surrounding you as part of your friendship circle.
Absolutely. And I love what Aaron Laura says. Our happiness doesn't have to come at someone else's expense, and it shouldn't come at someone else's expense. Ladies, if the only way you can have a genuine smile is by watching someone else suffer, that says a lot about you. As a woman, we should be more empathetic to others. I know I'm a softie. That's a big reason why I can't watch the news. If I see a mother crying, I'm going to cry. It's natural. The reason I smile is because I want y'all to smile at me. I mean, we've talked about this in some of our other episodes, but if you can't be happy for other people, at least remove yourself from being concerned about it. Find other things to do that build you up so you're not worried about what other people are doing, and just learn. Silence is golden. All right, so that was day 10 of our Elegance Bootcamp. Ladies, we are a third of the way in. So we're here for you every night. We will be back tomorrow for day 11. You all have shared that you like these little bite-sized tidbits, and these are ways that if you start incorporating these one every day, you'll be well on your way to being elegant. And Lucy and I will be here to help you with your journey. Lucy, did you want to close us out with anything?
I think this was a great little bite sized section, um, a lot of information, and hope to see you all tomorrow at 6 o'clock.
Yes, absolutely. So it'll be 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. So if you all turn on your notifications, whether you watch on my channels or Lucy's channel, we are here to help. All right. Thank you all so much for being here. Yes, whether you're watching live or the replay, we will see you all again. I'm so glad this was helpful. And until then, I hope everybody has a good night.
Adios. Happy
Yes, happy Veterans Day. Absolutely.